Welcome and thanks for tuning in to the NeverStopCycling virtual Recon, a series in which riders gonna recon a crucial segment of one of their upcoming races. And for this race, we've got a special guest. You can see him on the other side of the screen. But my name is Pau, I'm your host, and I'm happily joined by Rein Taaramäe of Team Total Direct Energy, who's gonna climb the final climb of stage 13 of this year's Tour de France. Welcome, Rein. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm fine. Comfortable here.
Comfortable here? Great, perfect. Now, before we dive into it all, let's give the viewers at home a quick idea of about what's to come up. Which climb we already mentioned. It is the final climb of stage 13 of this year's Tour de France. It is the climb up to Puy Mary after a stage of 191.5 kilometers, right through the Massif Central. And it actually is the day with the most elevation in this year's Tour de France. It's 4,400 meters of climbing. And then if we look at the details of this climb, it is. We're approaching the Pas de Peyrol, as the climb is called, from the west side. And first we're going to climb the Col de Neron, which is a short 3.8 kilometer climb at 9.1%. But then after a brief flat section and a short descent, the riders will tackle the Pas de Peyrol to climb up to Puy Mary, which is at 1,589 meters of altitude. It is a climb of the first category, although it's only 5.4 kilometers long at 8.1%, which doesn't sound too bad. But then, if you're gonna have a look on the Climb Pro feature of the Edge computer on your screen, you see those final 2 kilometers have some really dark red sections, which means it's gonna be steep. Rein, are you ready for that?
Yes, I'm ready. Hopefully I'm ready.
Do you have any previous memories of climbing Pas de Peyrol up to Puy Mary?
I know I'm climbing this about 10 years ago in the Tour de France 2011, but I don't remember at all. No memories in my head.
It was actually a pretty remarkable stage because it was the stage that there was a big crash on the descent. A lot of people, I think Vino even broke his elbow, I think it was. And it was also the day that Johnny Hogeland had a crash by that car and he came in the barbed wire fence.
Yeah, this day I remember. It was really one of the hardest day, and Thomas Wöckler get yellow jersey. And it was actually the first day when I felt really better. And I started my GC run and finished 11th here. So yeah, now I remember something.
some bad memories for some, but good memories for you on that day.
Not really good memories because too many crashes and tempo was really high. But yeah, results was good.
And other than that, like this climb already featured in the Tour de France like 10 times. Last time was in 2016, was it? Or yeah, 2016 when Greg van Avermaet won the stage. And he was also the first on the top, and they climbed it from this side. So pretty recent that they've been at this stage. A lot of green landscape because it's like in a volcanic park. A lot of rainfall coming in sometimes from the ocean, which makes it a bit cooler. Do you know this area well to ride in?
Not really much either because we have not many races there. Only Tour de France we passed in this area. But then now I see the screen, it's like I'm like in Africa. It's really green, like in jungle. It can be nice.
And you can see maybe on the road, it seems like pretty straightforward. A lot of pine trees left and right, but it's almost like a straight. Does that make a difference for you, whether it is like a lot of switchbacks or a climb is straight? Do you have like a preference for that?
It's always better with the turns because you don't see really far in the front. Because if you see that the climb is long and you suffer or you not suffer, it makes it harder for your morale. Because you see that it's never ending. But if there is corners, you say, okay, until to the next corner, until to the next. So it's harder like that.
Depends, maybe if you're in the break, does it make it then a little bit easier so they won't see you up the road? And then it's easier so you get a bit maybe morale that you know they can't see you when you're in the break?
Yeah, also, yeah. If peloton don't see you, it's always better. But if they already see you, the riders start to attack and they want to catch you. So it's harder anyway like that.
And is it for you like the first time that you're doing like a recon virtually? And what is the difference when you're doing it now like on the text trainer than when compared when you do it like in real life?
Yeah, it's really different. You are in home, it's more comfortable. It's less, at the moment there is really hot centrum of France, so, and you never know if you go make a recon ride, if it's raining or not. But this is really perfect like that. And if you do your recon ride early of the year, the nature it can really change a lot, and you don't recognize the road anymore in July, in September now. So it's really good option. I discovered this. Really nice.
So maybe you can do more of them now. There's still maybe a little bit of time because we're recording this on the Friday 21st of August. So that's a week out from the Tour de France. You probably need to do a bit of a taper and rest up. But maybe there's time to do another recon then after this.
Yeah, why not? We are in Friday today. And my Dauphine Librera is finished last Sunday. Afterward, I riding every day, but always in tax trainer. So I gonna continue like that. Make just tax trainer and stay home. And yeah, sure, I gonna do some recons.
And the people at home can see that you're still actually on the flatter part of this climb, although the flatter part of the climb is still like around 5%, but you're just finally cruising along. What is the stuff that you look at when you're doing a recon? What do you pay special attention to?
Normally, if I do recon, I go up to the climb, and first time I just ride, not make really much attention. Then I came back down, and second time I really try to look all the corners, some holes on the side of the road, on the middle of the road, you never know. And after you try to feel where the road is hardest, where is the steepest parts, or attacking, or just in the race, you know that this hardest part you have to survive, because later on it's more easy. And yeah, with tax you feel really the slope, so it's really identical. It's first time for me, and I'm impressed.
Well, let's see how impressed you still are when the really steep parts. If you're then still really smiling and happy about it all, Rein.
Normally, I like the steep part, so I like to get there already.
Okay, perfect. Now, if you're doing like this virtual recon and you see the images, you see the footage of the road, is there already something that you can pick up from this climb just by seeing it on the screen?
Yeah, I can see that it's not the best road there, so it's gonna make the game even more harder, because on that kind of road it's not perfect asphalt, and you feel at least that you push more, and it's harder like that. Otherwise, yeah, in the side I can see that in the side the road is there is some holes, and better to stay middle of the road if it's possible, because if you get flat tire here, it's finished. So better to stay in the middle.
And we already said it's on stage 13, so it's already 2 weeks into the Tour de France. Does it make a difference how this stage is going to be raced? If it's going to be really more in an attack mode with a lot of, obviously, like we said, there's a lot of climbing, the most climbing in this year's Tour de France on the stage. How does that make a difference when it's 2 weeks into the race, how this stage is going to be raced?
Yeah, for sure. If it's first stage, for example, for sure it's everybody goes for yellow jersey, but after 2 weeks there is so many gaps that probably there is 2 games. One for stage win, because normally peloton don't want to chase down Breakaway, and a lot of attacking at the end in the Breakaway, and for the leaders, for sure there is gaps, because the stage is so hard, there is no flat, small roads all day, and of course the fatigue, everybody they are tired, and at the end in the favorites, somebody feel good, he can attack. That's it.
So how far in advance do you look at the road book and start looking at the specifics of certain stages?
Actually, I try to day by day. If there is some easy day, I know, okay, today is recovery day. And then if it's easy day, I try to look what is coming for the next. Because if there is some 3 easy stages, why not to do even Breakaway in the flat? But I'm chaser of the stages, so if there is flat and next day is hard, in the flat for sure it's easy stage than possible, and next day full gas for stage. So this is my day, hopefully.
So you already marked stage 13 on your calendar, say like, okay, this is going to be a day for me, a lot of climbing, further into the race, definitely going to be a stage for the Breakaway and not for the GC riders, according to you.
Yeah, it seems like that. But attention, the start is already hard. The Breakaway is gonna be big, and there is, for sure, there is some names who already lose the GC for the crashes or for the other reasons. So Breakaway is gonna be really tough also. But for me, it's especially good because there is no high climbs. I'm a heavy climber, so about 70 kilos.
So you mentioned like you're a bit more of a heavy climber. That battle for that break is going to be big. I think there's a category 1 climb early on that stage. Is it something that sometimes you have maybe the polka dot jersey in mind as well for yourself, or you're just really focused on the stages?
I never think about before the race, because normally polka dot, if you have good legs and you're gonna do many breakaways, you can see after few breakaway days if it's possible or not, but not a special target for this, because sometimes you chase the points but you lose maybe some stage for this. But yeah, for the start, in my team and me, we have stage in the mind, so after what we have more, it's only the bonus.
And in the meantime, you cross that bridge, and then you can see like there's a sort of turn to the left, and this is where the real heavy part of the climb is actually starting. You see the percentage is kicking up.
Yeah, I see and I feel.
It's only
also I see also that the road is better here. So.
And you can see it's only
to do this Recon.
Only 2 kilometers of climbing left, but the average slope that you're going to climb is 13.2%. So it's definitely going to be a bit heavier now, and we can see it on your face and in the gearing as well.
Yeah, you can see I suffer. And here beam with 250 watts, so in the race you go about 400, but still we need even change the gears. There I'm 420 watts and 70 RPM, so you need a lot of more. Yeah, yeah. Important to ask the mechanic change the gears, smaller in the front, bigger in the back.
Do you already have an idea which size that you're thinking about then?
I think 136 in the front and 32 in the back. You're safe. You come in the front or in the back, it is you're safe.
And you already mentioned that you know sort of like your power. What do you look at on your Garmin on the screen during a climb? Do you have with the Climb Pro Future? Do you use the profile of the climb, or do you look at and what else do you look at? The power, heart rate. What do you look at?
For the most important, I ride by my feeling, but yeah, I try to look the power if it's necessary to follow some attacks, because if I feel I'm really in the limit, then I simply go already 450 watts. I know that if I follow some attacks now, I'm dead. But sometimes I drop like that and keep my pace, and I came back and attack later. But in Garmin we have option Climb Pro. This is really good tool, because you can see really how many kilometers you have to left climbing and how steep is the actual grade and the grade for the next kilometer. And then you can do also some calculation that if you put hammer down now, but next kilometer, for example, is 15%, you know that you have to be really, really strong to survive this.
You're actually now at the steepest part. You passed the 16.4%.
Yeah.
You can see it cool that you have to get out of the saddle for it as
exactly.
well.
I'm used to 5 RPM, so feel like power training, and in the saddle is hard.
Is there like a certain type of rider in the peloton that comes to mind for you immediately to think of, like which would suit this climb?
Yes, of course. The last part, it's more for light climbers, like H Brothers, Quintana. They are light and powerful, so. But there, when it's straight, when it's steep, it's better for the light boys, 55, 60 kilos. So, but this is the beauty of the cycling. There is something for everybody. Worst part is more like the riders like Dumoulin, because he's good time trialist and it's not so steep and you need more power. So something for everybody here.
You can already see there's some names written on the road actually on the video, which is pretty cool to see. Maybe from the last time the tour passed, but I only see the wrong names. It's Bardet and Pinot on there, I think, and Vichot. There's no Taaramäe on there.
Yeah, maybe for next year if I have to be in the States.
Is that something that you actually see? If your name would be written on the road, would you then actually be able to see it while you're suffering and riding up that climb?
Yeah, of course. You go so slowly that you can see a lot of things, and you can hear the people's. You can hear the bad voices and good voices. You can hear everything almost, because the speed is. Now I'm 9 in the race. You go 13, 12, so you run faster.
Does that give you a lot of motivation when you hear fans on side of the road? And could that be a difference maybe this year if there's going to be less people on the road? How does that going to affect?
Yes, it's even more motivation. Yeah, I have only one experience in the Tour de France, and I'm really on my own in the front in the climbs, and it's give really motivation, because there's a lot of people there who support you and other races you don't know this. But this year, yeah, there is less people, so. But I don't think so that the roads are empty like now on the screen. Sure, there is still enough supporters.
So if you would be in the break on this stage, what type of gap do you think you would need for these final 2 kilometers, like on chases, say, coming from the peloton, to be able to make it to the line?
It's about 3 k's, this hard part. I think 1 minute 30 it can be enough if you have good legs. If you are medium, not really good, you need to do 2:30. Because in these slopes you can easily lose 45 seconds per kilometer. So yeah, 2 minutes at least.
And would you prefer at this point on the stage, would you then still prefer to have like a companion to work with, or you rather by this stage now be solo? I can imagine you don't want to be with Alaphilippe right now in the break, maybe.
Yeah, last time I was in Alaphilippe, 2018, he dropped me. I was third in stage. So I prefer that he's 1 minute behind me. Alone, it's always better because you know there is 2-3 k's to go, and if you are alone, you go for victory. But if you are with somebody else, you never know. You give everything, but the other is stronger than you in the sprint, and that's it. Alone, always better.
And what type of landmarks do you look at, like in that recon, or just to kind of like know then how far it still is from the finish? Like, I mean, you're passing this corner, you maybe now it's like 800 meters left to the top. What are some things that you pay attention to?
Yeah, before in the past, I really look at the corners. About this last corner, it's some 1k to go. Another corner is like that. But now with the Climb Pro, you know exactly where is the line, how much you have to go. The technical support is make big evolution. 10 years ago we had almost nothing, but now you have all the information in your Garmin menu. So it's more easy anyway.
And if you now look,
because if you're in full gas mode, you can't remember everything.
And if you now see like this road, like that final stretch to the top is sort of like wide open. I think you could even see a bit of the trees were moving like on the side of the road. What is the effect of the wind here on that final bit?
If it's in the left, it's okay. But in the right side, yeah, it can be cycling easily. It's open. But in this kind of slopes, it doesn't matter really much. It's depend more on the legs. So.
And would you prefer, maybe we see the road is a bit wet here. I think it's an area where there's often quite a bit of rain. Would you prefer then a bit of rain at this stage of the stage, or would you prefer it hot conditions? What are your preferred conditions for a stage like this?
If it's raining, it's more casino, because so this kind of road, it's more slippery. There's more rocks put it in the road like that. It's also for that. Last time in 2011 there was a lot of crashes because the asphalt there was a lot of humidity, like in the screen now. So it's more casino if it's wet. But if there is casino, you can win a lot. You can lose also a lot. But
great call.
Some hills, he crashed out, and you had just luck, and you can win for this.
And if you now look ahead, you can already sort of like see your 400 meters from the top. You can sort of like see the end of the climb, and on the screen like this, it looks kind of flat almost, but it's still around 12-13%, as you can feel on the trainer. Does it give you any motivation when you can already see the finish line to push even harder to that final bit?
Of course, yeah. If you see that it's 1-2 kilometers to the finish, it's not give you really much motivation. But like that, 300 meters to go, it's give extra power. You know, after it's end, it's finished. Coca-Cola in the after finish line, so it's give extra motivation.
What can you still get your power if you climb at 400 watts and you see that finish line? What can you get your power still up to on the stage, you reckon, for a final sprint if it's needed?
I always, when I win stages in Grand Tour, I arrive alone, so I never had to make this sprint, but always when I arrive with somebody else on the race, 2 or 3 or 4, I'm always second, so no power matter, you just give everything. So I can see road is good, you don't get boxed, so you make with the legs, little bit also with the tactics, because you fix everything. You have to stay back more long time possible.
And you're approaching the final meters. What is now, when you've ridden this once, what's your takeaway from this climb?
For the first part, really like not hard, but last 2.5 km really steep. Really steep. It makes difference. If you like these steep parts and you have legs, it's more easy to win if you're strong. Because if you're strong, nobody can to follow you.
There you go. You've reached the top. I think the software is going to take you right down now for a bit of a cool down. If I give you, what are your odds, you reckon, for a breakaway on this stage and for yourself?
I have to keep some secrets for me, because if I'm really in the breakaway in this stage, probably if I have good legs, I attack in the last 2 kilometers, not before, 1.5 to go. If I have less good legs, there is really important to make your own pace, even if there is attacks, and you need to hope that go too strongly, and they were more tired after, and you can came back and make nice sprints.
Okay, awesome. Well, Rein, that was the virtual recon of the Pas de Peyrol, the climb up to Puy Mary. Thanks heaps for your time, and we're going to wish you good luck in the Tour de France, of course. And yeah, I think everyone's counting on you now for stage 13 on the Tour de France. Are there any other stages that you've got bookmarked already?
Not really, because this year there is so many hard stages that Breakaway can be to the end more often than every other tours. So yeah, this is surely a stage for the Breakaway, but every day there is chance that break go to the end, we have to try.
Okay, perfect. Well, and obviously you can do some more recons on the tech software as well, to get to know the course to where to get in that breakaway, etc. But for now, I'd say thank everyone for listening. Thanks, Rein, for joining us for this virtual recon and sharing your insights with us. And like I said, we wish you all the best for the Tour de France. And we'll hopefully see you guys for our next virtual recon. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.